What's up, guys? I go by Jumpsuit Pablo. I recently finished a 10-year prison sentence in South Carolina State Prisons, and I'm going to go ahead and break down some popular prison and TV show movie scenes for you and see how real or unrealistic it is. First up, we have scenes from the movie Blood and Bone. So I've actually seen this movie, and this scene in a whole, I actually like it for the most part. I think it's very realistic. With this portion of it, the only thing I don't really like about it is this movement, this inmate movement right here. You got a cluster of 4 or 5 more guys moving in this pack with this clearly determined demeanor. They have a destination and a mission they are on the way to carry out. And, that's very noticeable. That's going to stand out. Yes, to the inmates, but who cares if the inmates notice? Mind your business, right? But more so if there's security cameras in place, because there, many prisons and cell blocks have security cameras, and someone is monitoring those security cameras. But you're going to have an officer in any cell block or dorm, prison dorm, who's in a sally port. If you don't know what that is, this is what a sally port pretty much looks like. They're going to be in a booth surrounded by glass, and they can clearly see into both sides. There's usually going to be 2 sides, the A and B side of a prison dorm. And they're just there's not much else to do in that booth other than people watch and watch the inmates. And something like that, a cluster of these guys, very serious, determined, with a clear purpose, heading somewhere, that's going to stand out. That's not very common. And so automatically his eye is going to be drawn to that. He's going to watch where they go. You'll see ultimately they go into a bathroom to confront another inmate. And when he sees them go into that bathroom in that pack like that, if somebody doesn't come out in the amount of time it takes to just quickly use the urinal, he's going to know. It's pretty obvious. Y'all went in there to do something. Better go check it out. I might go do my security round now. So he will come, and you're probably going to get caught red-handed if you went into that bathroom to do something you're not supposed to be doing. So I don't like that.
Might not be any of my business, but JC's crew's headed this way to bump you. And they all got shanks.
I know.
So again, right here, I can't say this would never happen in a million years, but maybe if you had a really good friend in there who you were actually close with and actually cared, they may pass along a warning to you if they had one. If they overheard something that someone was planning to do to you, maybe they'll tell you. But usually 9 times out of 10, if you know something's about to happen and you can sense it and it has nothing to do with you, you're not going to do something that could later come back to haunt you and piss somebody off. Okay, if it's none of your business, it's none of your business. Move along.
Out of my road, nigga.
Seems a little unrealistic. I mean, this guy didn't do anything to you. He's not even the one you came to confront. If you go around, you may be in a gang. You may have some buddies with you, but if you make it a habit of going around treating the neutrals or people who are not really affiliated in any kind of gang, which it's usually going to be more people who aren't in a gang than are in one, in a cell block or dorm, so you will be outnumbered by them. If you make it a habit of just treating the unaffiliated people that way, just because you're in a gang, that's a good way to have the population turn against you, and it won't be long until that backfires.
This motherfucker think he's special. Want to be left alone and shit. Don't want to be mobbed up with the rest of us niggas. Like we ain't shit. You understand what I'm saying? Shit don't work like that around your own boy. Yeah, you going with the pack, you the pack bitch. You feel me? And they kind of tight too. That shit don't mean nothing around here though, player. I done seen a whole lot of belt motherfuckers get their ass bent over up in here every day. You understand what I'm telling you?
So I really like this dialogue once Kimbo here, the main guy, starts talking. The only thing I don't like, let me get this out of the way, the way he paid that guard off real quick, I guess, to look the other way and let them do what they do. That's not going to happen. Number one, you're probably going to have to pay that guard a pretty good amount to turn his head while you brutally injure another inmate with these knives. I mean, there's got to be reports made, medical reports. He's probably going to have to go to the hospital. They're going to need detailed reports of what happened. They may check the cameras. It's just too easy for that guy to get caught, and he's not doing it for $20, okay? And also, why would an inmate pay a lot of money for something that they could do without the guards' help? If you know how to move and navigate through that dorm and go about things cleverly and sneakily, there's too many open opportunities and better timing that you can find to do something to that inmate where the guard really will never see it and know until it's too late, and there's just no need to pay that guard off. Other than that, here's all the things I love about this scene. Really from right here in this clip is where it starts. This dialogue is spot on. Some of the best dialogue I've heard from just a movie, TV show prison scene. Sounds like any other altercation that I've heard almost in actual prison. I mean, he goes in there, he feels confident, he's in control of the situation, he's talking his crap, he's talking his smack. And then you even see, Michael J. White take his shirt off and kind of reveal that he's got a lot of muscles. And man, I've heard it 1,000 times, almost the exact line. He kind of comments, "Oh yeah, I see you pretty big, I see your ribs. That don't mean nothing. That don't mean nothing around here, homeboy. I've seen plenty of big people get messed up just like you about to get." I have heard that so many times that it kind of made me laugh when I heard it. Then also at the very end of that scene, you'll see Michael J. White kind of look at Kimbo through the mirror that's in front of him, if you want to call it a mirror. That's exactly what jail and prison mirrors look like. I probably went 5, 6, 7 years until I got my hands on a cell phone, never having a clear, straight vision of what I looked like. And I grew from 21 years old to 30 years old back there. So as I was growing, I never even knew what I looked like. And all you're gonna get is that very small face-sized mirror. It's probably been punched, beaten. I don't even know how they all get so messed up and distorted, but every single one of them is all just disfigured. And so you're gonna look in the mirror and your face is gonna look like it has one of those camera filters on it that kind of swirls your face a little bit. You're never going to know what you look like, and it's probably so rusty and dusty and musty that you can't even see, if you got a pimple, you won't be able to see it. So much less a full body length mirror. You're never going to see that. So it's really weird to go that long without seeing yourself. So that was interesting. So next is a prison scene from the TV show Breaking Bad. So yeah, you're definitely, if you're going to get the guy while he's on the jail phone there, you're definitely going to want to hang it up like you saw that one inmate do. He kind of pressed down on the receiver and hang that call up before you do what you're about to do, because you definitely don't want his loved ones or his friend, whoever he's communicating with on the other end, to hear this tussle and this scuffling around and those screams. They're probably going to immediately hang up and call that prison and say, "Hey, I think something just happened to my loved one. Get down there now." No idea how they expect to get away with that. So prisons have controlled movement. So the fact these inmates are even out of their cell blocks and they're clearly going somewhere, maybe medical or something, these guys are not going anywhere without a list of something in the computer. The staff knows who is supposed to be exiting a cell block at a specific time for a specific reason. So if someone gets murdered during that time, they're going to say, okay, he got murdered right here during this time. It had to be the group who was going here. What was that, about 8 guys? Okay, so all 8 of those guys are going to be placed on solitary confinement until we get to the bottom of who did this. But in this scene, the way that door closes behind that, half of the group, it's locked. And so after they kill this inmate, those 3 inmates cannot go through that door to kind of catch back up with the group and blend in that way. And they're not going to be able to go back anywhere else. If they left the cell block, that cell block door is absolutely now closed. So they're basically caught in this little chamber, this section of the hallway. There's nowhere to go. So I don't know how they expect to get away with that. I don't know why they would just drop the murder weapon right there next to the body. and just walk off. Anytime an inmate dies, especially gets murdered, but just dies in general in prison, you're going to have an outside team of investigators. They're going to come in there and investigate that entire thing. You know, so if they just walk in there and, well, here's the murder weapon, I mean, that's just, it's too easy to take that small shank and flush it down these very high-powered toilets. They have kind of higher-powered toilets with, I mean, the flush, when you hit that flush button, it almost takes you with it, because they want to avoid inmates being able to really flood it easily, because inmates will, just to cause trouble. But you can flush those little shanks, those skinny little shanks, or you can even hand them off, get them outside of that cell block, hand it to someone who's going to another cell block or who's going to the cafeteria, maybe even have them bury it real quick. Anything but have it right there by the body. Next up, we have a movie called Shot Caller.
All right, they're popping them. It's time. Come here, we're doing this.
Oh, first off, I love this movie. I actually just watched it for the first time last night. I love it. I think the whole thing is, in many ways, very accurate. As far as this scene, so he basically has to put in some work. He's about to have to stab another inmate to death who's suspected of snitching. So right here, those nerves, those jitters, that adrenaline, all those thoughts racing through your head because the big moment is coming, very real, very realistic. The only thing is, the outward showing it to this other guy who's also taking part in it. He's also part of the gang. Most guys are not going to obviously show their nerves, their doubts, their second thoughts, things like that. They don't want the other person to know. And he's kind of showing it so much, it's so obvious that this other guy kind of has to shake him out of it and smack him back to life like, hey, this is happening. So most guys are going to try to not show it, no matter how bad their nerves are, because it's, you know, even if you go through with it like this guy does, go through with it, when it's all said and done, that guy's probably going to just hanging around the water cooler, you know, talking with the other gang members. It is going to come up that, hey, yeah, he did it, but man, I'm not going to lie. Man, he almost didn't, you know, he was nervous. He was kind of scared at first, you know, he didn't. And it's just everybody's got to be so tough back there, you know? So that's the only thing about that. But other than that, the nerves, all that's very real. So yeah, right here, this is right after they stabbed and killed the inmate who they were supposed to kill. And you see him kind of in a trance, in a daze of what he just did. But the other guy snaps him out of it really quick and lets him know, hey, we got to follow procedure. And the whole, you know, they're taking their uniform off. It's probably got blood on it. That's very realistic. You know, that's what everybody does. Not even just after a stabbing, but after a fight, anything where someone starts bleeding, you're going to get those clothes off. You know, you want to get rid of those. You don't want those on you. You don't want to be walking around with blood on you. You don't want them in your cell. You're going to take those off, and you're probably going to find a way to get rid of them. Throw them in the trash, anything. And most prison-issued uniforms are going to have your personal, unique prison number stamped or somehow applied to that piece of clothing. You're going to want to rip that off. But other than that, yeah. So what they're doing here, they're just taking those clothes off that probably have blood on them, and you're going to get rid of that whole uniform, so it can't be tied back to you. Next up, we have scenes from the Jack Reacher movie. So yeah, you see this guy, he's clearly the new guy, and he looks, I mean, outward appearance, he looks pretty weak. And he looks like he's easily preyed upon. And you got this group of guys over here who is up to no good, and they're checking him out. That definitely happens. You definitely have guys who, you know, they're always looking for someone to capitalize on. And so when they see someone like that, they're definitely going to be up to something, and they're going to go try it. So, yeah.
There she is. She ready. Look, she got pretty little shoes on. Give them shoes, baby. Come on now. You heard me. Give my shoes like the little bitch.
Once they spot him, they'll definitely, as you see, go in the cell and approach him for whatever they're wanting to do. Now, I understand this does happen. As far as the sexual assault part, that seems like it's about to happen here. That definitely happens at some prisons. My prison, and I'm sure many prisons. I feel like it's either frowned upon or it's not. It's either okay or it's not okay. And in my prison and many others, someone who goes around, if you want to rob somebody, cool. They don't really care. If you want to go in there and actually sexually assault somebody or do any type of homosexual activity, it's just, they're not going to be okay with it. Nobody in the cell block, nobody in the prison dorm, nobody in the gangs. It's actually a specific rule of the gangs that you are not allowed to engage in that type of behavior as far as sexually assaulting another inmate. So for him to go in there and do that, I guess he's at a place where they're okay with it. But if he was at my prison and he did that, the entire dorm would turn against him. He would be exiled. He would be probably physically ran out of that cell block, and he wouldn't be allowed to come back there, or probably any other cell block once word got around. They're just not going to tolerate it. Also, what I'm used to, and I notice he didn't do, if a group is about to come into a cell and, there's two guys in each cell and they just want, they're there to see this guy, this one guy, and their business is with him. If there's another guy, like, Jack Reacher is laying on the top bunk, they're going to go ahead and tell him. If he's got nothing to do with it, they're going to be like, hey, man, let us get the cell for a minute. We need to talk to him. Hey, get out of here. And they're going to let him go ahead and get out of there, And they probably should have did that, because if they would have, if you watch the rest of the scene, Jack Reacher eventually hops down right before they sexually assault him and ends up beating the crap out of those guys. So that's it for me. If you enjoyed this and you'd like to see a part 2, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you have any suggestions or favorite prison movie or TV show scenes that you want me to include in part 2, let me know what they are in the comments and I'll make sure I put them in. Okay? Other than that, thanks for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't already, because I will be back soon with another video.